Okay. Hi. So like 30 seconds ago, I was wolfing down some leftover something from a few days ago for lunch. So that's exciting. Um, yeah. Hi. So I should just make a regular event of this because it takes me longer to actually set up the Facebook Live than to do anything else. So that's silly. So I should just say, I should just put a thing up and say, hi, I'm going to be there every Monday, and then you can just come watch me. I don't know. Um, so I am going to finish chewing the. So I was eating leftover. There's a thing called porcupines. There's a woman who I may or may not. I don't know if she's still around. Her name's Carol Eberly, I think, and she's from the Lansing area. I don't know if she used to be a journalist or what she used to do, but a billion years ago, I bought a cookbook from her, and it's called Potato Chip something and something something. And it's recipes like Johnny Marzetti. Do you remember Johnny Marzetti? Interestingly, not everybody knows what Johnny Marzetti is. I want to say I grew up with it, but maybe I didn't discover it till I came here to college. I grew up in Pennsylvania. So I don't know if it's a regional thing um, or what. I always wondered what Johnny Marzetti meant. It's like egg noodles, although I use whatever I have, and tomato sauce or and ground beef and cheese and maybe green peppers chopped up. And it was one of my, it's just, and then they get it at the cafeteria, the dining halls. They just slop it onto your plate and it was always delicious. So I don't know. And I made it a bunch for my kids when they were growing up, my little family of four. And I make it once in a while here, but there's a recipe for Johnny Marzetti and it's but potato chip cookies? No, I don't know what it's called. It's a little book. Carol Eberly, Lansing area. But let me know if you remember Johnny Marzetti or if you heard of it and if you remember where you like learned about it or where you grew up. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that's not what I was eating. So I was eating I was eating something called porcupines, which are from that recipe book. And it's ground beef and uncooked rice and onions and supposed to be topped with tomato sauce, but I didn't have any, so I used a jar of spaghetti sauce because I'm wild that way. And I don't know, some spices probably. It's basically little meatballs with rice in them, and made them a few days ago. I had some cold at work the other day for lunch, um, and then I ate the rest of them. I just shoved them in my face just a few minutes ago. So yum. Um, but I called you here today because I want to talk about classes that you may be interested in that are coming up in the month of May, which we are already 3 days into, if you can believe that. It's crazy talk. Whoops. So first off, I will tell you that on May, I don't know I didn't get any links ready. Oh, I have it written down. Hang on. Somewhere in this pile. That's me getting classes ready for you. May, the 2 weekends, okay, not this coming up weekend, but the 2 weekends after that. So the Friday is the 14th of May. So um, May 14, 15, 16, and May 21, 22, 23. That's when the next Stitches event is. I'll be teaching at that. It's 2 weekends because it's the one they call Stitches at Home, um, which takes something very exciting happening out in the hallway right now with the cat. So the dog had to go check in case there might be something yummy to eat afterwards, if you know what I mean. Um, sorry. Stitches, the place I used to travel in the before times when we could travel, is now online, and they alternate Stitches at Home, which is a 2 week, kind of like a camp Stitches, but better. You get 2 weekends with the same instructor, or I guess some people take more than one class, but that is sounds like well. Let me just continue. So you get to take a class that's maybe over 2 weekends with the same instructor, so one big long class. So that's what I'm doing this May, this month, and then they're alternating that now with Stitches Expo at Home, which is meant to be more like the Stitches events where I taught, where it's one weekend and you have a market and you can take lots of classes from a lot of teachers. And I've been fortunate to be teaching at both of those events. I'm so happy that Stitches started up again. So, hi, Abby. Yay. Um, yeah. So, Abby, did I tell you that my children both live in Chicago now? So you're going to have to move back to Chicago. That's just all there is to it. So I can see you when I go to Chicago to see my kids. Yeah. So Stitches coming up in May. What were the dates? 14, 15, 16, and 21, 22, 23. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to be teaching my, and I did this for Stitches a couple months ago, maybe. It's called, it's very clever. It's called From Start to Finish. So it's a finishing class. I know I forgot, sorry. It's a finishing class, but we're starting at the very beginning with the cast on row. And this is our project. Oops, you're going to find out that I didn't weave in the ends. We'll just hold it like that, and then you don't know that I didn't weave in the ends because everything else looks perfect, right? So we're going to start with a cast on row. We're going to knit every piece separately, and we're going to talk about, well, that cast on row. We're going to talk about right side and wrong side. We're going to talk about counting your rows, and we're going to talk about seaming, mattress stitch, shoulder seams. We're going to talk about 3 needle bind off on one of the shoulder seams. We're going to sew one sleeve in. Oh, there's going to be increasing and increasing and decreasing. Yes, because one sleeve is going to be done from the cuff up and then sewn in, and the other sleeve is going to be picked up, so picking up stitches and work from the top down with decreases, and then you're also decreasing for your neck shaping. It's a little drop shoulder sweater, so no armhole, no set in armhole. And then picking up for this awesome band, just so we can, sewing it down. Whoops, there's some more ends that aren't woven in, so that we can practice that. And we're going to make buttonholes and talk about where to place the buttonholes evenly, if you want to place them evenly. Apparently you don't have to. Oh, look, it looks like I'm wearing the sweater. And then how to sew on the buttons and how to weave in the ends. What else? What else do you see here that we're going to learn? Blocking. We're going to learn blocking. Yeah, and talk about whatever comes up along the way, because it's 4 sessions. It's 10 hours. So that's a lot of time. And oh, Margaret, thank you. My mother used to make the porcupine meatballs. Yeah, so are you from the Michigan? Did you grow up in Michigan? Is this a Michigan specific thing? Or maybe like sometime, like if I look in Betty Crocker, maybe it's in there. Oh, hey, Jennifer says, fun. It's like one of those baby toys with buttons, snap, zippers, etc. But skills, S-K-I-L-Z, because she's awesome. I took me a while to figure out what you were saying. Yes. Hi, Lisa. Yes, it's like a cornucopia, oops, of skills, including weaving in ends. And also, the other thing I'm faking you out about, and I've shown you this before, I know, but you might not have watched before. We're going to learn how to sew on buttons, but I didn't sew these buttons on. I used the fake safety pin through the back trick. Because when I'm teaching the class, I want it to not have buttons, and then I want it to have buttons, and I don't want to keep sewing them on and unsewing them on. Sewing them off, wax on, wax off, I don't know. And that's why the ends aren't woven in either, because, well, that's what I'm telling you right now, is the ends aren't woven in so that I can show you how to weave the ends in, but in reality, it's because I didn't weave the ends in. Yeah. And I think, actually, come to think of it, that our hem might be ribbing. I don't remember. So that's a surprise. If you sign up for the class, you'll find out whether it's ribbing or garter stitch. Oh, now all the ends are popping out. So this is a worsted weight wool. I'm asking for wool so that you can block it successfully. Okay, mom was from MSU. I'm an MSU grad too, and that's probably where the Johnny Marzetti comes from. Excuse me. Yeah, so worsted weight wool. So this is a combination of, I'm sure it's Plymouth Galway, and I'm sure it's Stonehenge fiber mill shepherd's wool, and I wouldn't be surprised to find some Cascade 220 in there. So just any kind of wool that's a worsted weight, and then whatever needles you normally use with it. and smaller needle for the borders, and you'll need a crochet hook. Anyway, all right, I'm right here and I'm going away. I'm going to type in Stitches Events because I should have done this before. Oops. And then I'm going to type in, yes, I meant Stitches Events. Thank you for correcting me. And I click on Events, and I click at Stitches at Home May, and I click on See Classes. Oh no, I back up. I don't click on See Classes. I click on Teachers, and I look for my beautiful face. The picture of me was taken by Kelly Nuss at a Stitches event just on the spur of the moment, and I love that picture. It's like 3 pairs of glasses ago, but I love that picture. Oh, anyway, sorry, I got distracted by me. I'm clicking on View My Classes. There's a nice bio there. And I'm clicking on the top of the page, and then I'm coming back to talk to my beloved Facebook Live people, and I'm going to put that link in the comments. See how that works? There. So that's the link to my class page, and from there you can go backwards and find the, if it went in, there it is. Oh, look! There's that little, good, I'm glad I'm telling you about the right class. You can go look at the event, and the prices are good, the timing is over the weekends, and they give us the option of having the class sessions recorded, which I didn't like in the beginning. I'm getting really used to seeing my goofy self on video, so there's that. But I just was uncomfortable having my classes recorded, and they are only on for the students who paid for the class, and they're only on for a week after the event. And then they go away. So it was made obvious to me, that might not be the right word, by my students that they would be really helpful to have them. So I said yes. And I think I told you, maybe I told you before, but anyway, so I say yes now. And so I started to say before, people are taking more than one class over these 2 weekend events, and then they just count on having the videos. But guess what? Double check, because not all the teachers are doing the videos. So double check when you sign up that if you plan on doubling or tripling or quadrupling up, check that the class is going to be recorded, that the teacher said yes. So I wanted to see how the recordings work so that I could speak more truthfully or educationally about how this to my students about how you go and look at the classes. And so the first one I only watched, well, the first one I picked was from April, and it was my set and sleeve class, which is two sessions. And I went to watch the first session because I wanted to know wanted to be able to tell people who had missed the first session what to watch, how to get there so that they could watch it before the second session. And that worked great. People did watch it before the second session, and we're all caught up, and it was great. But what nobody told me, maybe because I didn't sign up for the recordings in the beginning, I was a late add-on, was that I'm allowed to turn off the recording, which I didn't know, and then turn it back on, which would be good to know. I just thought I wasn't supposed to touch the record button. I didn't know I could touch the record button. And then I go in 15 minutes early, and I check the lighting, and I get all my stuff, and I talk to the dog and take a drink of water, and I didn't know that for 15 minutes you'd be staring at me getting ready and then just standing there. And apparently, I think I might have shown you this last time. Apparently when nobody's looking, I walk around like this, because for 15 minutes I walked around with you guys were, no, that was, anyway, blah. So that was really fun to watch for 15 minutes. I was sitting here going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And no, they can't be edited because Benjamin is just getting them out there as fast as he can so that the students can use them. And they're not meant to be there for perpetuity, easy for me to say. So they're not edited. So afterwards I'm like, can I turn off the recording until I get going? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, oh, okay. And I apparently also thought I was on stop video, because the second session for that I went to watch, and it was, I don't know, it had a little picture of a camera or something, and wasn't me pouting for 15 minutes. So now I know that I don't have to make you watch me for 15. Although now that I know that, I could you know, captive audience, I could do something like this for 15 minutes, a little song and dance, which neither, you don't want to see me do either of those things. But anywho, um, yeah, so it's really easy to find the recording because as soon as it's up, it's on the same page that you use to get to your class. They're all Zoom classes. There's for the 2 week, the Stitches at Home, I know they have some events like during one of them, I watched Deborah Jarkow do a presentation on things that she'd made, not just things she'd made on the rigid heddle loom, but interesting. There was I think it was like different kinds of things you can make on the rigid heddle loom. So, and it's, you know, stitches is not just knitting, it's crochet, it's weaving, it's, I don't know if they had spinning classes. It's design, it's clothing, it's sewing, it's fitting garments. It's there was English paper piecing back in the day when we could meet in person. I don't know if they've had those. There's some great teachers in all kinds of disciplines. I want to take the classes. So there's a woman named Pepper Corey who used to be here in East Lansing, and she's a quilter, and she had a studio. So I'm here near East Lansing. Hi, Leah. Yeah, I don't have to see it. It's behind me. She says the one pearl stitch in the photo behind you is driving me crazy. Yeah, it's art. It's art. The title of the piece is I Learned from My Mistakes. It's a Chicago artist. I have to find her card. I know the pile that her card is in. I just haven't found it. But yeah, people like it makes people itch. So Pepper Corey. So I graduated from Michigan State University in East Lansing, which is right next to where I live in Hazlitt. I don't know when I graduated, 85. It took me a while to get out of there. And as I finished college, I was working for a typing service. Remember typing services or typewriters for that matter? Like with keys that you press. At least they were electric. It was IBM's electric typewriters. And I worked for a typing service upstairs at 210 Abbott Road. And if you're familiar with campus, it's upstairs and across the alley from Beggar's Banquet. And Woven Art, the shop I work for part-time in East Lansing, when they first started, they were at 210 Abbott Road, but way long after I was working at the, at the typing service. Anyway, down the hall from the typing service at 210 Abbott Road, upstairs, across the alley from Beggar's Banquet, was Pepper Corey. Can't remember if there was a special name for her studio, but she was a quilter. And then Kate Darnell was also up there. She's still around. She's a calligrapher. Awesome stuff. And she still comes into the yarn store once in a while. I had totally forgotten about Pepper Corey. And I went to the announcement Zoom for what was going to be on the classes that were going to be happening for Stitches in May. Wow, long story, Sarah. Thanks. And there was Pepper Corey, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. So I said hi to her because we're not in person, so I can't just quietly do it. So I did. Well, I guess I could have quietly done it in the chat, but I loudly did it in front of everybody. I just said, hi, I used to work down the hall from you in 1985. Which, you know, she was very polite. She doesn't remember me, I'm sure. But I want to take her class. She's doing a hand quilting class. Anywho, that, again, I have to quit saying anywho. I'll quit eventually. I don't have to. I would prefer not saying anywho all the time. Yeah, so that was an interesting coincidence. And then Sonia Phillips, who's her book just came out, her patterns are the 100 Acts of Sewing, and then her book, The Act of Sewing, just came out, and I just bought it, and then I found out she's teaching for Stitches. So she's teaching a jumper, I believe, pinafore. Anyway, I want to take her class too, but I can't because I'm teaching. Culpeper Quilts, that was probably it, Jean. Hi, Jean. Yeah, so I'm sure that was it. And there was some connection with all of these people with the typing service because everybody needed to have things typed, so I met everybody. I was like mini celebrity because I'd be walking around and the students would go, you're the lady from the typing service. I go, yep. You know, I'm 18 years old and I'm like, yep, I'm that lady from the typing service, yep. So I felt like special. Now I get it for, you know, shop girl and hand knitter, and I'm fine with that too. So big fish, no. Small to medium fish in a very large pond, but Anyway, I like it. I don't know. It's always nice when people know who you are. Other days I'm completely invisible. So what we're supposed to be talking about though are my classes. So I think you know what this one's going to be, and that's coming up in, gosh, 2 weekends. And I'm assuming they're not sold out because I haven't heard that they're sold out. They being it, 10 hours. Um, and you have plenty of time to do all the things. We start with nothing. I have you cast on 2 of the pieces the first session. I think we just have 1 session the first weekend, and then you have the whole week to knit the pieces. Yeah, and they're little. They're little. This is the biggest one. Um, yeah, it's doable, and you learn so many things. And guess what? Then you have a sweater. I don't know if it fits anybody. I just made it up. I don't know. Roll the sleeves up if it's too long. So that's what I'm doing for stitches. And then as Sarah Peasley Hand Knitter, also live from the same studio, I've been teaching on Tuesday nights, and I ran out of new classes, so I put 3 more on the schedule, and I don't think they're going to be up yet because the person who puts my classes on my website currently just had her second COVID shot, and she's not having fun. So I owe a newsletter to the world. So I will, as soon as I know that the May ones are up, I'll send out a newsletter with the links to the classes. But here's what they're going to be. I'm taking tomorrow off because nobody's going to sign up in one day. Or if they were, I don't know. I'm taking tomorrow off. So there you go. And then next week, the 8th, the 11th. I don't know what the 8th is. Something's happening on the 8th. On the 11th, I'm going to be teaching a class, and after all that, I forgot what it was. But let me pull out my giant pile of papers. Oh, look, I have a little pile of papers. May 11th. So I'm going to teach my Reading Your Knitting class. And I don't have a sample to show you because it's lame. It's just a swatch. But while you're knitting the swatch, you learn about your knitting. You learn to look at your knitting. You learn to keep track of where you are and figure out where you are and how to tell if you just did a decrease or you did it the row before, which we've all not remembered when we're doing armhole shaping or sock gussets or sock toes or something. Yep, I'll talk about tips and tricks. And I didn't look at my knitting. I mean, I didn't knit like looking in the other direction, but I didn't like study my knitting for the longest time. I've been knitting for longer than I can remember. I'm turning an old age this year. No, it's not old. It's not old. It's just a new number, and I don't like it. But I'll get used to it. But I'm turning 60 this year. And actually, on the last day of the Stitches event is my birthday. So come take my class so you can tell me happy birthday at Stitches. That's a reason alone right there. Yeah, so I was probably knitting when I was 6 or 7. My Barbie dolls have clothes that I know that I knit. Ooh, they're over there. Someday I'll show them to you. And so I've been knitting for a while, but probably I didn't look at my knitting, study it for probably till I was in my 30s, because that's when I started like more seriously, like actually taking classes and knitting with people, back when we could knit with people, which we will be able to again soon. And anyway, this is one of the classes that I wish I had taken, because you'll get to recognize, what you're supposed to be seeing. You'll be able to tell where you are, where you were, how far you've gone in your knitting. Anyway, it's a great class, and you should all take it if you haven't already. Even if you've been knitting for a long time, you may not really just know all the things, right? So that's on the 11th. These classes are from 6:30 to 8:30. I teach classes PM, by the way. Eastern time, by the way. So 6:30 to 8:30 PM Eastern time. Hi, Benjamin. Ooh, were you here for the part where I talked about stitches? I said good things. And yeah, so next Tuesday, so Tuesday evenings. I'm also teaching Saturday afternoons from 1:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon on the days that I'm not teaching for other events like stitches. And those right now are filled with some sweater design, a sweater design class, and a vest class, the Killebrew vest, Fair Isle vest from Denise Bell. So we're knitting from somebody else's pattern. And then I'm going to sprinkle some other ones in there. Well, good thing about Facebook Live, Benjamin, is you can go watch it again if you want to listen to me ramble on. And I mentioned your name, so there you go. You have to go listen. Yeah, so reading your knitting, it's a great class. That's on Tuesday, coming up Tuesday, and I will send a newsletter as soon as the link is up. And then one of the things that you'll be able to do when you have learned to read your knitting is you'll be able to fix your mistakes better. But even better is that the following week on the 18th, I'm teaching my mistakes class. And these are all 2-hour classes. That one has always been a 3-hour class. So it'll be interesting to see the first time I do it on Zoom, how it goes. But mostly things have been doing fine. 3-hour classes, some of them need to be 4 hours now, and some of them are doing okay with 2. But it helps that I don't have to walk around the room and see everybody's work. So that saves quite a bit of time. But I do get to like poke the window and say, show me your work. It's a lot quicker. But everybody's been doing a great job pivoting. That's the word of the pandemic. One of the words of the pandemic being another word, pivoting for the new structure of classes. So preventing and fixing mistakes is, again, looking at your knitting, looking at the structure of a stitch, a row, some different stitch patterns, learning how to fix drop stitches. Let's see, let me read my thing. Study the anatomy of a stitch, then apply what you've learned to correct a variety of common knitting mistakes, including twisted stitches, dropped stitches, split stitches, and holes. Learn to safely tear back a stitch, a row, or an acre of knitting without losing your cool. Gain confidence and enjoy your knitting even more. Aren't I awesome at writing that? That's called romance, that weird language that's supposed to make you want to sign up. So that's preventing and fixing mistakes, and that's 2 Tuesdays from tomorrow on the 18th. And then, those are out of order, I'm going to dive into some of my technique classes because I haven't done those for a while here. I haven't done anything for a while here. Well, I have, but going back to the technique classes, I'm going to start with double knitting. Oh, I can show you that. That one I have samples for. So double knitting is a way to have, there's a couple different things. There's single color double knitting where you can knit in the round without, like on flat needles. And then there's color double knitting. This is a really simple example. This is a black hat with rainbow stripes. Name that yarn. You don't have to name the kind of yarn, just name the brand. And then you flip it over and it's the reverse image. So it's a rainbow hat with black stripes. And so this is a double layer. In the parts where there aren't black stripes, you can pull the layers apart. Excuse me. And then it's kind of welded, not really welded because it's knitting, but fused. It's fused together where the colors cross. So that's kind of exciting. This is a pattern. It's not available. It's from Nancy McCrae, who used to be down here at Woven Art, and I should contact her about getting it written up because it's a nice, easy double knitting pattern. And this is one from Lucy Neatbee that's squares that you can't even tell that they change, but they do. They're the other color. So this one is dark, and on the other side it's light. So this is a nice, easy introduction. And pro tip, if you use really fuzzy yarn, you can't see any of the mistakes or the unevenness. So that's that. I think this is my first double knitting I ever did, and you can see some of the lovely edging because I wasn't really good at it. This is a Nancy Lindeberg pattern. She's the one who wrote the turquoise pattern, not those turquoise patterns, but the ones that are like socks to fit. That's not what they're called. Knit to fit socks? No, I don't know what they're called. Crap. But there's a whole series of them. And this is a headband that is reversible. And this is a cool, oop, there's the jog, oop, over here, right there. This is a really cool use of double knitting. And look, it's like Fair Isle in double knitting. And then this is one, there's a big long story, but this is another one. This is one of mine. And no, I don't have it written up yet, but I will someday. So that's just some pretty yarn. So double knitting is kind of a two-sided fabric. And Alistair Post-Quinn has been doing a gazillion, he's written some books on double knitting, one of which is called Extreme Double Knitting, so that tells you a thing or two. There's a lot you can do with it. My class is called Basic Double Knitting Technique. All of my technique classes like that are basic techniques, basic Fair Isle, basic intarsia, basic double knitting, basic entrelac, basic cables. So we're not going to do the extreme crazy stuff. Yeah, so here's my lineup. Tomorrow, I'm going to take a nap. And then in a week, on the 11th, I'm going to teach Reading Your Knitting. On the 18th, I'm going to teach Preventing and Fixing Mistakes. And on the 25th, I'm going to teach, is that right? Tuesday, yep. On the 25th, I'm going to teach basic double knitting techniques. And then that's what's going to be on the calendar, on my website, and in the newsletter. And then guess what? Then we get June. And I'm just going to tell you that I'm going to bring in 2 sweater design classes. And both of them are going to be different from what I've done before. So that's exciting to me because I keep trying to push myself a little bit with each one and learn, just make it a little bit something I haven't done yet for you guys. So let me just say the words top down and we'll go from there. And more technique classes. I'm going to throw some sock classes in there. And this isn't just June, by the way. But because I have so much I'm going to teach you, I am going to add another night of teaching. I'm going to add Thursday nights starting in June. Also 6:30 to 8:30. Let me know, so now I've got an evening. Right now I have Tuesday evenings and I've got Saturday afternoons. And I know some people have families and some people have jobs and some people have other kinds of jobs and some people don't have anything that they have to do, have to be anywhere. So I'm making it up. Let me know if a second evening is okay, because I'm not going to get those on the schedule until June, or before June. But let me know if I'm silly to think that 2 evenings would work, or if I should go for Thursday afternoon, or what I should do. I'm aiming for Thursday night, but it doesn't matter to me. So let me know, okay? Do I have anything else to tell you? Lisa, I'm going to do top down and toe up, not at the same time. So Lisa says she needs a sock class. I miss knitting socks. I used to knit socks all the time, and I have a big pile of socks to be made and to be repaired. A couple months ago, I kept threatening to make you all repair socks with me, but we'll talk about it in the sock class. And I'm actually going to do it as footies, like it can be a footie, so you don't have to knit round and round and round on the boring stuff, or you can come to class with a leg of a sock. That's for the top down one. And for the toe up one, when we're done with the fun stuff, you can finish it as a footie and be done, or you can knit a leg and have a sock. And most of us have a second leg, and so most of us will want to knit a second sock. Hey, you could knit one down and one up because they look the same, kind of. From a galloping horse, they would look the same. I think that's pretty much it. I will show you this exciting thing. I'm going to do product placement. I just picked up this bag from Jean's Story. Look at this fabric. Isn't that adorable? I think it was, I'm going to go with Cosmic Cats. I think that's what it was called. And it has all kinds of pockets, and then it has this thingy for putting a thingy in. Your image gets me every time. So you can put your pattern in there, or whatever you keep losing. And then it has all these pockets. You can't see them. There, you can sort of see them. But I just picked it up. I was running errands, and then I Zoomed with my sisters, and then I shoved food in my face, and then I came to talk to you. And I don't know what I'm going to do next. I probably have another meeting. I don't know. But that's Jean Story, who was on earlier. Her business is called Mid Mitten Designs. She's here in Lansing area. And I've known Jean for a long time. She retired from the state of Michigan, and this is her thing that she's doing now. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah, product placement. I don't know. Do you want to know anything? I'll give you like 30 seconds to ask me a question. Oh, so the picture in the promo or whatever at the top of my event and that I sent out on social media today is a pretty, old sewing machine. It's also a pretty old sewing machine that I picked up from my friend Beth a week or two ago. Oh man, I have part of my porcupine on my leg. Yep, picked it up a week ago. It's got a beautiful cabinet. I didn't even try to plug it in because when I picked it up, her husband said the wiring's a little frayed. And I'm like, I just thought I had to like oil it and clean it, and now I have to fix the wiring. But I found a thing online. There's lots of things online. I found things that are reliable sources for fixing. Plus I have a handy neighbor, so he might be excited about replacing the wiring for me. I'm not going to solder anything but there's a place I can send it, or I can bring my neighbor over. He likes Clara, so we can trade walking Clara for replacing the wiring on my sewing machine. And then I'm going to sew all the things. It's old. It's a Japanese knockoff of a Singer from, I'm going to say, the 50s. And I have a manual for the manual. I downloaded it from the internet, so therefore it's like sleeping at a Holiday Inn Express, for the model of the Singer that it was copied from. So apparently that's supposed to be okay. And I'm excited. It's just does, I think it only goes forward. It may not even go backwards. Has a beautiful cabinet. So worst case scenario is I don't get it to work and I close it down into the cabinet and I have a horizontal surface on which I can put new things, like my bag from Jean's Story. Always looking for new horizontal surfaces because all of mine are covered. It's a weird thing. All right, I'm going to stop because nobody's asking me questions and I'm just jabbering at this point, which is what I promised you I would do. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you next week. And, you know, if you wanted to sign up, you can't sign up for my classes, but you could go sign up for my Stitches class. And then look at all the other ones because there's a lot of cool stuff in there. All right? Okay. Talk to you guys later.